guys, Nathan here from Nathan's Online Academy. 今天我们要来介绍一些跟香水相关的用词、动作以及片语的英文表现方式。So first of all, how do we refer to 香水 in English? Well, there are a few ways that you can say it. First, we can call it a fragrance. Fragrant 是香氛的、馥郁的形容词 ，fragrance 就变成香味、香水的意思。We can also refer to as perfume. Perfume 大家应该很常听到香水。We can also refer to it as a scent. 原意是味道的意思，气味，但是也可以被解释为香水的意思。And the last one is cologne. 大家比较熟悉 cologne 的意思应该是古龙水，但 cologne 也可以拿来指称香水的意思。好了，如果我们要用英文表示擦香水或喷香水，我们要怎么用英文说呢？ Well, you can say spray fragrance or spray on fragrance, but it's not the common way to say it. 所以擦香水还有哪些比较正宗的用法呢？ First of all, we can say to put on a fragrance.Or we can also say to wear a fragrance. 在西方文化里面，香水它被视为是一种饰品。So, fragrance is viewed as an accessory, and we wear or put on accessories. It's a little bit similar to the idea of wearing or putting on makeup. 讲到香水，我们也不能忘记通常在市面上所购买的香水浓度的区别。第一个，我们来介绍一下 EDC， 或者是我们的古龙香水。EDC stands for Eau de Cologne, which means water of cologne. It's in French. So eau de cologne typically has a concentration of perfume oil of 2% to 4%. As low concentration leads to it dissipating faster than its other counterparts. 第二个我们通常会看到市面上绝大多数贩卖的就是我们的淡香水 EDT, Eau de Toilette. Eau de Toilette. Eau de Toilette has a concentration of perfume oil from 5% to approximately 15 or slightly above.It is the standard kind of fragrance that you will see on the market or in perfume houses. 再往上一点，我们看到的是淡香水 Eau de Parfum, Eau de Parfum, EDP. So EDP has a higher concentration level of perfume oil, ranging from 15% to 20%, which means it lasts longer and usually it has better performance. 再往上呢，有一个叫做 Extrait de Parfum, Extrait de Parfum, 也就是浓香精，通常它的浓度大于20%。Which means that one drop has 20% of perfume oil contained within. It is a very high concentration. 我们来进一步介绍购买香水时，我们会比较注意的几个特点的英文名称。So first, 我们想要知道香水的持续时间为多长。Well, in this case, we refer to this as longevity.Usually when we speak of longevity, we speak of the lifespan of an individual or perhaps of any sort of living creature. But here it stands for how long a fragrance or a perfume can last on the skin. That is longevity. Apart from longevity, we must also take projection into consideration. Projection, 像我们的那个投影机叫做的 projector. Project 是投射、投影、投放的意思。So projection of a fragrance means how far away can people smell the fragrance on you?它可以投射的香味的距离为大概多远 We must also consider sillage, S-I-L-A-G-E, sillage. Sillage 也是从法文来的一个单字 It refers to a scent trail, 香味所遗留下来无形的踪迹，无形的痕迹。除此之外，购买香水的时候也需要考量到 the complexity of a fragrance.Complexity means how complex a fragrance smells. Is it simple and straightforward with only a few notes? Or is it a beautiful accord of multiple notes combined harmoniously together into one single drop of fragrant elixir? You must consider this when purchasing a fragrance. 而在购买 fragrance 也不是只有喷在试纸上就好了，记得 you must spray it on the skin as the different temperature levels in every individual vary slightly, which means it would have a significant impact on how a particular fragrance performs on your own skin. You have your body odors as well, and how your body odor mingles with the fragrance can vary drastically from individual to individual. So remember, always spray it on the skin if you can when testing out a fragrance.我们再额外补充一点，当喷完香水，不是当下喷完你就可以决定购买。You must wait for the dry-down. Dry-down 顾名思义就是干掉的时候，也就是香水在皮肤上干掉的时候，不代表它蒸发了。It just means that the initial spray has now dried down and it's in full contact with your skin, which means that there would be slightly different chemical reactions with the aromatic molecules in the fragrance with your skin. And this might lead to different scent profiles, which you might like or not like.So always wait for the dry down before purchasing or pulling the gun on a fragrance. 在简述完购买香水要稍微注意的几点之外，我们再来讲一下香水的前、中跟后调。So we refer to these as notes. 前调 we refer to as the top notes. 中调 the middle notes or the heart notes. 而基调 we can refer to these as the bottom notes or most commonly known as the base notes. Usually, the base note is the pillar of the fragrance itself, upon which the middle notes are built, and then finally to top it off with the top notes. The top notes are the initial notes that will immediately hit your nose when you spray the fragrance, but they will dissipate quite quickly within 1 to 3 hours after the initial spray. And then comes the middle notes or the heart notes. The middle notes or the heart notes, I would say, make up about 50 to 70% of the smell of the fragrance when you are wearing it on your skin. The few hours when the heart notes have dried down, when we go down to the ultimate dry down of the fragrance, are the base notes. Sometimes you will not catch a single whiff of the base notes after the initial spray, or even after 3 to 5 hours of spraying. You will only gradually unveil them at the end of the life cycle of the fragrance on your skin. 那接下来我们就来讨论一下各位在购买香水喜欢香水不同调性的英文形容用法吧。花香的香水 we refer to these as floral fragrances. 那如果比较喜欢柑橘香的，比较清新一点的 bit more fresh, more summer-like, 我们这些柑橘香的香氛我们会称之为 citrusy fragrances. Citrus 柑橘类植物的意思， citrusy becomes its adjective, 柑橘香味的 like tangerine, maybe mandarin. 有时候我们也会用 zesty 这个形容词来形容这种柑橘香的 zest, the lemon zest 通常是指柠檬的外皮 so zesty 通常是柑橘类植物外皮的那种香清香的味道。如果你喜欢木质调的香氛，我们要怎么形容呢？ Well, in English we refer to these as woody scents. Well, apart from woody, we can also use the adjective earthy to describe these kinds of scents, 木质调或是大地香调的香水。So woody or earthy scents. They smell like the forest. They smell like maybe cypress, oak, cedar, sandalwood. 这些都是比较常闻到的这些木质调的调性。如果你比较喜欢辛香料调性的香水呢， we refer to these as spicy scents. Spicy such as pepper, such as nutmeg or clove. These scents are a little bit more warm and more suitable for colder temperatures, colder weather. Spicy scents, I love these as well. 通常都有胡椒的味道在里面，有一个香辣的调性。Now, what about some of the more sweeter fragrances? Of course, you can just say I like sweet fragrances, or you can say I like gourmand fragrances. 这种香甜的香水呢，通常会让人联想到 things that you can eat, dessert, cakes, brownies, or maybe freshly baked biscuits. For example, some common notes are tonka bean, chocolate, vanilla, caramel, sometimes even coffee. 接下来我们讲一下东方香调的东方调性的 Oriental fragrances. Oriental fragrances. So what exactly are Oriental fragrances? Oriental fragrances are more commonly associated with the idea of dark, mysterious, sometimes with a hint of amber or ambergris, 甚至也有那种香，我们在烧香的那种味道 incense. Incense-laden or incense-infused fragrances are smoky fragrances. 烟熏调的香氛我们会称之为 smoky fragrances, and these are often associated with exotic Oriental fragrances as well. 讲到麝香 musky fragrances. Musky fragrances smell more masculine. Musky fragrances in the past utilized real musk extracted from the musk glands of live animals. But now, because of the rise of animal rights, animal laws, and organizations such as PETA and such, the harvesting of musk from animal glands has now been banned. So most of the musk fragrances you can buy in the market are synthetic musk, which means they are chemical compounds and not natural, but they still smell quite nice. Now, one final category, 这些比较粉汁胭脂味的香水 we refer to them as powdery fragrances, powdery scents, such as iris, lipstick, makeup, gloss, the smells that bring you back to the dresser in front of your bed, or the small makeup table in front of your TV. 当然还有非常多其他不一样调性的形容方式，但是实在是太多了，我们今天就先简单的简述到这边告一个段落。So before we end, just a little bit of experience sharing. I believe that fragrances are indeed a sort of accessory. You can choose to wear them, or you can choose to not wear them. But if you choose to wear or put on fragrance, make sure you put on a fragrance in accordance with the occasion. And so how would a person normally put on fragrance? There are many different ways of how and where to put on fragrance on the internet. So I would like to recommend my own method of putting on fragrance. Well, 这是我的个人的看法，你们可以仅供参考就好。我们顺便来讲一下英文单字。So first, I've got one fragrance over here. So how would I put it on? This, I believe, is an Extrait de Parfum, which means it is over 20% in perfume oil. It is very high concentration, and I would not want to put on too many sprays. In English, we would call this overspraying.Overspraying 也就是喷太多香水的意思。You never want to overspray because you would not want to become a department store. What you want to do is probably to make a statement, but not be overly assertive when you walk into the room. That means you don't hit others inside the room with an aromatic punch that becomes overbearing, overwhelming. 这两个形容词都是难以招架过度的意思。So how many sprays would I put on? Well, normally I would put on approximately 2 to 4 sprays according to the concentration of the perfume itself. In this case, this one, I would only put on 2 sprays. So where do we usually put on or wear our fragrances? I believe most of you have heard of the term pulse points. Pulse 脉搏 point 是点，所以这是你身上有脉搏的点。The reason we wear fragrances on pulse points is because pulse points generate the most heat on our body and will help in evaporating the fragrance and allowing the fragrant molecules to be released and letting it perform its magic in the air. So 2 sprays, one here, behind the neck, one here, behind the neck, and if there's any residue 是残留物、残余物，这边讲的是残余的香水，没有完全喷平均的香水的意思。So if there's any residue, I would again expose my wrist over here, dab it on my wrists, as the wrists are also pulse points. Move them around, and that's done. 好，我们今天跟香水相关的用词跟片语的介绍就在这边告一个段落。我自己个人还蛮喜欢收集香水的，尤其是比较 niche、比较不常见的这些 fragrances。如果各位有自己喜欢的香水，或者是有推荐冬天男士或者是女士适合擦的香水，请在我们下面的留言跟大家分享，我们彼此一起讨论，让大家能够一起度过一个充满香味的冬天。Well, that's it. I'll see you guys next time. Nathan out.